with that, now that we are both seen and heard clearly, I would like to call the Monday, August 23rd board meeting for the St. Joseph County Public Library to order. And I will start with the determination of quorum. Please, as I call your name, tell me if you are present and receive the materials. We'll start with Sally.
Present, and I received the materials, yes.
Marvin, thank you.
Present, I received the materials.
Alan.
Present, I received the materials.
Terry, are you on? Terry is not on. Anne.
Present, and I received the materials.
And John.
Present, and I've received the materials.
And I am also present and have received the materials. So we have determined a quorum. Minutes from the last board meeting were sent to you in the board packet. I assume that everyone read them. Do I hear a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or corrections? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Sally?
I was not present at that meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Marvin?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
And I also approve. Thank you. The minutes have been approved. With that, we can move to the director's report.
I'm going to ask Jenny to start with the patron engagement statistics. So Jenny, you'll have to move to a mic.
Hello. So we have July's statistics, which are in your board packet, and I'm just going to point out a few things. We didn't make any changes to how the statistics are being portrayed this month, so I'll just go over a few things that we're noticing. In terms of circulation of physical materials, we continue to be on an upswing, but you can see the difference between where we were 2 years ago and where we are now is probably a reflection of main library closing. So there's still a little bit of gap, although we're tracking how we were doing 2 years ago, you know, if we're not looking at the COVID year as more of a comparison. Over in programming, you can see that we're having a fairly robust rebound in programming this summer. So even though the weather was not cooperating the entire time, we did have a wide variety of programs, both inside and outside. And this is really the first month that we've seen that bounce. And you can see how that compares to how we were doing last year. We're also seeing some slight increases in door count, Wi-Fi, and computer, and increases in particularly Wi-Fi. We're seeing a lot of things at all of the branches, and that just goes to show how the branches are being used right now, that there's a lot of computer and internet use happening. And we are, that one, are not very good. So I would say those are the big highlights that we're seeing, but everything is looking pretty good, especially as we compare it to last year. And it's exciting to think about what the opening of main library is going to do for our statistics in the future. Thank you.
Okay, and the rest of my report is fairly brief because you have a pretty rich and full agenda this afternoon. So I just wanted to go through a couple of things about main library. There have been a lot of changes since last month, and I think even since you last saw it. The terrazzo on the first floor is getting polished and it looks beautiful. It's this white and just a little bit of off-white. It's just really nice. Shelving is going in on the upper 2 floors, and Boss Display, that's the company that's installing all of the children's elements. They're working on the first floor in the children's area right now. We still have wall coverings in teen and the children's area, and that should be installed in the next couple of weeks. And then we'll be doing a punch list for the first floor. So first floor main library is pretty well done. Second and third floors are done except for punch list items. And most of the crew is going to be moving actively in the Learning Center for that final sprint to get everything finished. But the big news, I think, is that we've decided that Saturday, October 10th is going to be our final day open here. And then we'll close for the move. And November 14th, Sunday, is the grand reopening. So mark your calendars. It's going to happen. Looking at you, Antonia, she's got to make it happen. And we'll have more information as we get a little closer, but we have a schedule now. So we're pretty excited. Any questions about anything? I realize that's very brief, but again.
I want to commend you guys, all of you. I drove by today and yesterday. And I had some friends from out of town from New York who were just amazed at what it looks like in South Bend.
We're
It was their
setting,
first time in South Bend. They were like,
Yeah.
wow.
we're setting the bar very high, I think, for the community, and that's okay.
I was very proud to say, and I'm on the board.
It's better.
It looks fabulous. It really, I mean, it's
It
just,
does. It really does.
I guess as you see, you said in the bar, so I was in the Barnes and Thornburg building last week too, which is a very nice building. Do you think it's going to make a huge change in the downtown? That part of downtown?
I think it has every potential to do just that. I think it sets a standard for public buildings.
It does.
I
Yeah.
think it will become the gathering place that we all hoped it would be, and it's just beautiful. It really is just beautiful on the inside.
And people are, when I tell people there's going to be an auditorium, that they light up.
We're already getting asked. We've had some bookings. We're getting asked about rooms. We're getting ready to advertise for some of the other things, but it's starting to roll.
So is there going to be a fee for use of that room?
If you're a nonprofit, no. If you were a for-profit or we still are working out all of those details, but there will be some fee-driven services, but for most nonprofits, no.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I will call for a roll to accept the director's report. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I also approve. So the director's report is approved. And
I
we will,
noticed we have Terry on.
oh, we have Terry on now. Hi, Terry. Did you,
Aye,
for the,
and
For the
I
record-
vote yes.
okay, for the record, are you present and did you receive the materials?
Yes, I have everything I need. Yeah, and I hope the connection stays, but right now it's good.
Okay.
We're
Thank you.
we're traveling, obviously. This is Mobile Unit 1, Library Board Mobile Unit 1.
Oh, no, Anne is traveling also, I think.
Okay.
No, I think I was on before, so I think I'm mobile unit 1.
Oh, and are you, okay, you can have it.
Moving right along, we will move to library bill list, and I do understand Kelly will be presenting. Thank you.
The bill list for this month was pretty typical. Most of the large ticket items had to do with construction. Do you have any questions on any particular item?
Were there any items that stuck out to you as being new and different?
No.
Okay, are there questions from the board? Hearing none, we are moving quickly through this agenda. I will call for a vote. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye,
Anne,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I also approve. I do understand that we received 2 gifts. Would somebody like to cover those?
Yes, the Miesel Elliston Trust gift is actually a grant award. We just missed it to get it on the grants this month. That's going to be to design a smart box exhibit on the topic of social justice. So we're kind of excited about that one. The AEP grant supports the main library project, and I think we told you about that a couple of months ago. So those are the 2.
Okay, so I'm willing to accept a motion to accept the $57,000 in gifts.
So moved.
Second.
So move.
Third, okay, good. And are there any questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the roll. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry. Terry? I see him saying aye.
Hold on. Aye.
Okay, we got a visual aye. And John? And I also approve, so that is approved. Next, we'll move to personnel changes, and I do believe Deb will be discussing that.
Yes, you'll see a number of changes on this agenda. Our 6 interns have ended their time with us, so you're seeing those terminations. We're also in the middle of staffing up for Maine's reopening. Some of those positions are transfers, some of them are new hires, and then we're going to have to be hiring for the vacancies those transfers are leaving us with as we move people around. You also have approval for 10 wage adjustments on this agenda to bring people in those positions up to $13.50 an hour. That's going to be our new starting rate for full-time people. Those are all effective on August 29th, so the employees will see this change in their first pay in September. Any questions?
Questions about personnel changes?
Yes, Marvin.
It's not about changes, but about hiring. And how will you guys go about advertising those positions?
For the vacancies that we have.
Right.
Sarah, would you like to take that? We have a number of places where we advertise.
On our website like we normally do, but also different places like Indeed and things like that. And we've been working with the communications department to push it out various places, not only like locally, but things like American Library Association sites. So we've been having a great deal of candidates, and the candidate quality has been excellent. I know that when Kara is back from her leave in September, we'll be trying a few new things in regards to some of the jobs like custodial or security in order to drum up more applicants for that.
That's where we think we may have some problems getting folks is the custodial and security
Sure.
jobs, and those are the jobs we just bumped. So we think it'll make it a little more competitive, and then there'll be another estimated wage hike in first of the year. So that will get them up higher.
In things I've been doing, just want to make sure that we don't leave out there's a segment of the population that doesn't have a computer, that doesn't have access to a website. And Black churches in particular, you have to go to them. You have to send something.
That's really,
Other entities like that, where as I do this work across the county, I'm seeing that. So just want to make sure we don't leave out anybody.
thank you.
Any other comments?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. For those jobs, what's the minimum requirement?
Requirement.
Yeah. Custodial, I guess. Let's start with that. Okay. And the rest of them require bachelor's degrees? Yep. Thank you.
Good comments. Other questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the roll. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I also approve. So personnel changes are approved. Next are reports of special library board committees. No special board committee meetings were held, so that is, we can move on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? Not that we know of, so we will move into new business. And with that, we will talk about change orders for the main library project. And I'm assuming that Antonia will be presenting those changes. Antonia?
Yes, thank you very much. So we had 15 changes. The first one was for BOFO. They are planning on installing thresholds at the elevated door openings just to make sure to avoid any water infiltration into the building from those spaces for $1,600. Second, we have Bully and Andrews for the 9 additional weeks of construction management services. This is for $86,904. We have Golf for 3 changes, providing a credit for the fabric wrap panels for $3,491. They provided a credit for installing drywall at the heat pump benches on the first floor for a credit of $284. And then there was a few Bully and Andrews directed drywall modifications that was covered under their overall allowance. That allowance cost was $11,798 for an overall credit of $3,775. For Herman and Getz, there were 4 changes. They provided some electrical work inside of the the book drop room that is going to be the security room. They provided a few power and data additions. They also provided some additional work inside of the cafe. And then there were miscellaneous light fixture changes that we requested that they do in order to make sure that the space was a little bit better lit. And that came out of their allowance for an overall cost of $1,625. For Indiana Earth, there were 3 changes. One for the unforeseen foundations for $484. There was a revised detail. There was a revised detail for the stoop, where we needed to excavate some more area in order to install some additional concrete for that stoop for $3,520. And then there was a credit for another contractor to perform the water distribution flush for a credit of $1,475 for an overall change of $2,529. For interior finishes, there were 2 changes. They are providing wood for the temporary stage stairs for $799. And there were miscellaneous floor patching that we had inside of the 2nd and 3rd floor of the renovation space, all of which were captured under time and material tickets and tracked for the time that they used for $8,727 for an overall change of $9,526. Larson Danielson, their general trades package, there were 3 changes. One, to furnish and install the fabric wrap panels for $23,861. There was hand washing stations due to COVID that we recently removed for an overall cost of $1,183. And then they also provided work on time and material to provide waterproofing around the steel that is located underground in order to provide additional support for the cast stone and granite that the cast stone, granite, and brick sit on top of, the masonry system sits on top of. That overall cost was $5,986 for an overall change of $31,030. There was one change for Larson Danielson's contract for the millwork package for furnishing and installing the stage stair, excluding the wood flooring and the handrail for $11,587. Mechanical Concepts had two changes. One, to revise the grills at the third floor of the annex space for $440. And then for the fireplace shroud, this was a cosmetic choice for $360 for an overall change for them, $800. Midland Engineering had two changes. One, for the roof hatch. When we move the roof hatch, we wind up needing to revise the clearance for the handrail at the roof hatch. So there was a different custom built roof hatch railing for an overall cost of $1,078. And the other cost was a retraction from Midland Engineering, back charge from Midland Engineering to ZCI for $1,176 for an overall credit of $98. Precision Wall Systems had one change. They furnished and installed steel supports at the W9 window. That's that big window right on the corner of Wayne and Michigan. That area showed cast stone in its place, and it was not intended to be the case. So we needed to install some additional steel supports for that larger window. That overall cost is $8,634. For Robert Henry, there was one change. This is for the stoops at the courtyard for $3,376. Structural Steel Services is furnishing and installing the handrails at the stage stair, temporary stage stair for $11,766. And we revised Zolkowski's change order from last month to reflect the deduct, the retraction that Midland provided because ZCI did not want to sign that. They worked out their detail. So we updated all of the costs associated with that. So there were three changes. The setback flashing for an overall add of $2,456. They furnished and installed CMU at the freight elevator for an overall change of $12,993. And they provided modified lintel for $3,014 for an overall change to them of $18,463. Does anyone
Sorry,
have
did I
any
miss-
questions?
Oh, did I miss the TPC Technologies explanation?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I skipped over that one. For TPC, we had, let me get to that. Hold on. TPC, we are furnishing and installing curtains inside of the auditorium space. It was one of the areas that we knew we wanted to have something there. And they wind up accepting a few alternates. That cost change was $44,973.
Thank you. Are there questions?
I have, not in, I guess in the budget line, I I should ask Deb, are we broke? Are we gonna be broke?
We're coming close to expending all construction funds. We're down to about $50,000 in contingency, but we're also only 8 weeks out. So it's going to be really close. Antonia and I talked about whether or not to come back to the board this month and ask for a little more in that construction budget, and we have money, so we're
Okay.
fine. We're going to wait, I think, another month and see where we are by next month. But a lot of these changes are coming out of other contingencies that Billy and Andrews was holding in that budget line, and so now the actual change is coming through. Am I correct on that, Antonia?
You are absolutely correct. We were, for all of the items that we foresaw coming, we put a rough order of magnitude to all of those line items in order to make sure that there weren't any surprises on our end, which was the reason why we were continuously showing a more aggressive budget on our end, because we didn't want to run into a situation where we just didn't have enough money. There are a couple of other allowances still remaining that still have money inside of them, and we'll be tapping into those as well.
Are there any major things that you foresee that might get uncovered as you come towards the end of this?
So the best part about new construction is that it's rare for you to find unforeseen items. Now, this is when the building is enclosed and we're working inside of the space. We had the unforeseen foundations originally because that was uncovered, but everything else that we have is all pretty much to the eye. So I don't see any major changes happening on the construction end that would be disastrous.
And one last question, and this is out of curiosity. The big glass window, is that glass or is it unbreakable glass?
It's glass, yeah.
Unbreakable glass.
I think you can probably break anything, but it's pretty heavy duty. Yes, Antonia?
It's pretty heavy duty. You can break anything.
I'm good.
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions?
Terry, you had a question? I can't hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I had a question regarding, you were talking about glass. Is it glass or polycarbonate or acrylic or tempered glass or heat strengthened? I'm just curious. Because I know what it'll do when it's chipped.
I don't know the answer off the top of my head. I can find out and I can share with Deb and she can share with you guys as well.
I know we spent a lot of time getting those windows.
It's not critical. I just.
Good question.
Well, and they can do really strange anyway, not a problem. Right. Thank you.
You must be going through a dead zone because we're hearing only garble right now. You okay? Okay. Okay.
I will just try to stay muted, except for roll calls.
Thank you. No, that's okay. Your questions are good, but I just want to say you froze for a minute. All right, with that, are there other questions?
Is that glass right now? Is it see? I can't remember. Is it see through it?
Glass, you do see through it. Yeah. One of the things that we really wanted to do with Maine was to make everything visible in the building, because the glass block just, you couldn't see what was going on. Yeah, you're going to be able to see this. We did, there was a lot of discussion around the glass because of how much the color of it and how much light would penetrate, because we have to protect what's inside as well. So we went through, again, I'm looking at Antonia, but there were several iterations of glass before we settled on what this was. And there was a lot of discussion around glass.
So at night you can see.
You're gonna be able to see it. Yep.
That'll be
Yep.
a landmark.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to the city. I know there was a variance question that they had regarding our glass in that space, in the amount.
So the questions are very relevant. Thank you. And thank you, Terry. Yes. Other questions, comments? With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the changes.
I move, approve all changes.
Second.
I hear a motion and second, and hearing no more discussion, I will call the roll. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Ellen,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
John. And I also approve. With that, we have approved the change orders. Next on the agenda is the request for the Ramza modification of contract for additional service requests. Deb, you'll be covering that?
Yes. You saw on the change orders, the extended services for Billy and Anders for 9 weeks. This is Ramza's, and that went on as a change order. This one is going on as a contract change. So we are, you have 2 additional service requests from Ramza. The first is for additional work for a theater consultant to add the curtains and rigging to the stage in the new auditorium. When we started, we were going to forego stage curtains because we didn't think we were going to be doing a lot of drama or any real performances like that. But we've been thinking about it for months, and we decided that depending on what we hope to do in the space, we decided to add them back along with other rigging for future use. So we're protecting ourselves. We'd rather not add the rigging later. We'd rather get it now. So the total on that change is $12,500. And then the second one is for additional construction administration services, and that's a shared cost between Ramza and Arcos because the project deadline has been extended. So those additional fees take us through September and October, and that totals $52,504 and I don't know why, but 50 cents. So,
Excellent.
so the grand total on those 2 changes are $65,004.50.
Who's the consultant firm?
I wish I knew. Antonia, do you remember who the theater consultant is that Ramza brought in? I'm not sure she heard me.
Sorry.
Do you remember the theater consultant, Antonia? Because I don't off the top of my head.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay.
Well, while you guys are talking amongst yourselves, I'll check my email.
Okay. It may be. They're out of New York. I know.
How do you, okay.
Yeah.
It says Fisher, DACA.
Oh, it's right on there. I just,
I didn't see it. So, curious. About the kind of
Okay, I believe their name is FDA, Fisher Dash
yes.
and Associates.
Yes. Thank you, Antonia.
My pleasure.
Is there a seating capacity is
250. It's not a large stage, though. That's why we were looking at no curtain, because we didn't think we would do a lot of theater in the stage. We wanted music, panel discussions, film series, all of that. But this will give us, this also is going to shield the wings because you could see through the wings, and so that we're going to have side curtains. That will help too.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet.
These are good questions.
Marvin's an expert, so
Yes,
I'm,
yes,
I'm,
I
I'm hoping we didn't miss something.
No, I just want to make sure that they're not heavy duty. Space like that, you don't go thick stuff.
I don't think they are. No.
They come out of New York, they might get a small space.
Yeah, it's a small space.
Is there acoustical tile?
There's an acoustical ceiling.
Ceiling?
And there are fabric wrap panels on either side of the auditorium as well, on the north and the south side of the auditorium. It's when the acoustic consultant came through, he was very impressed.
Okay, good.
He really liked what he
We've
heard.
had several consultants working on that auditorium, so I'm hoping that it does what we need it to do.
Sure. That's a nice space.
It is.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Do I have a motion to approve Ramza's additional service requests?
So moved.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
John, and I also approve, so that passes. Next, we'll move on to the strategic plan report. I assume that Deb will also cover that.
Yes, and this is going to also be very brief. We are 8 months past when this plan was set to expire, and while we could not have predicted a pandemic that was going to derail us for 18 months, it also gave us time to complete one of the centerpieces of this plan, which is the main library project. So that was when we started this plan at the end of 2015. That was the centerpiece, and it's just now coming to fruition.
Thank you.
This is what you have as a relatively brief summary of the last year, all in the time frame of the pandemic. This is June 2020 through July 2021. Most of the activities that we're reporting here could fit into more than one category, because a lot of our access things are also virtual and also deal with technology, so they overlap themselves. But I think what always amazes me and always gladdens my heart is how much we do in here, even with the pandemic going on. We totally pivoted during the early days, and we have continued to morph as things in the pandemic have changed. And I just want to thank, I don't do this report all by myself. Trish and Jenny and Lisa and Sarah and Rana and whoever else fed you information that went into that this year. They've all contributed to wrangling all of those things. So I don't want to say too much about it. I mean, it's all there. And hopefully next month we can start talking about the new plan, which is very much, we're going to be right down to the wire, I'm afraid, because it has, again, with main library and the pandemic and everything else we're trying to do. Jenny's going to talk about branding tonight, so we just kind of threw that in there too. It's been a rich and full couple of years for us, but we'll get there. So any questions about anything?
The activities are impressive. For those of us who have the report, we see that under every goal, there certainly they've been exceeded in every category. So I think that we did a great job. Are there questions for Deb about the strategic plan? Not hearing any, I will call for approval. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I also approve. Moving right along, we will talk about salary recommendations for 2022. We'll be covering that.
It's going to be Kelly.
Kelly.
Ask for a little help from Nancy along the way. But as we were looking at proposals for salary increases, salary and wage increases, of course, we were looking at the underlying principles of merit, retention, market adjustment, equity, and compression, along with available dollars, new dollars that we would have to provide that baseline. So the growth quotient that was allowable for our growth this year was 4.3%. When we looked at that number and applied the principle of about 60% of that would be available for salary and wage increases. Even with the potential loss of local income tax dollars and a flat AV, which has been growing, assessed valuation for property taxes, we still feel comfortable in recommending that in January, a base increase of 3% for all staff and a pool of $75,000 for performance-based merit increases. The performance evaluations would be due in October, and we would be able to come back to you with what that would look like for each employee that was employed prior to July 1, so that they would have a performance, and see how that panned out through the pool of money based on what the performance evaluations for folks that get 3, 4, or 5. And those increases would start in January.
Normally, we bring that to you at the December meeting when we see the whole roster and what raises all look like.
So at this point, this is a proposal to proceed looking at those dollar amounts that would allow a 3% base and for
That-
a merit.
I'm sorry, Kelly. We're not asking for board action tonight. This is just where we're leaning and what we're planning so that you know, and if you have questions, then it's a great time to ask those.
Certainly not a question, but a comment. And of course, we know the role of human resources, not only to recruit, but to retain. And through what we've gone through in the last year, I think that this would be a nice way to retain staff that's lived through this. Not only the pandemic, but just the whole moved and build. And between now and January, they're going to be doing a lot more work.
I think also I would like to commend you guys on the equity part, because so many times that does not happen. I've seen it. And so, about salary equity, I would say this, I'm glad to see it in the budget part. That doesn't always happen. We struggle with that. I think it was a lot. Always lost.
Any other comments?
I have a question. What is the hourly rate for our lowest paid employees?
So for our full-timers, as of September, the hourly rate for the lowest paid employee will be $13.50. We're also going to be hiring at $10 an hour for our part-time positions, which mostly those apply to things like materials handlers, which are 16-hour positions. So that's where we're going to be as we hire materials handlers for the new main library. But we didn't need to adjust the part-timers rate because everyone already cleared that hurdle.
And Terry, we used to start materials handlers at $8.65 an hour, I believe. So $10 is a nice bump for those folks too.
Correct. We were hiring
Again,
everyone
they're
at
16 hours a week. They're usually a part-time. We hire, that's our student rate in a lot of ways. Although they're not all students, certainly.
The purpose in my question is I'm seeing numerous locations that are committing to a $15 an hour minimum wage and for full-time, not part-time, and just wondered if that has been discussed.
When we're starting these folks at $13.50 as of September, and they're going to get a 3% base raise, that's going to take really close to that 15. I think we're going to be there with a lot.
Did that answer your question, Terry?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments? This does not need board approval at this time, so we can move on to budget planning. Again, I think Kelly will be presenting the budget planning process.
Trial by fire for my first board meeting. So you will see in your board packet the copy of the forms that we're asking that we will be releasing the Form 3, which is the public for the board hearing through Gateway tomorrow, if you approve. And you will see that our proposal for the budget, again, going with that maximum levy growth quotient, which comes from the state, we were allowed to increase our general operating fund by the 4.3%, which we did to the maximum. And the debt service is set by the debt payments that we have, and those have decreased because we had one sort of a bubble payment this year that had to do with the capitalized interest on new debt and things like that. So those will get more streamlined and flattened next year, which will decrease the debt service by 18%. And so with that and decreasing the expenses that we'll need in the library improvement reserve, we will, because the project's nearing completion, we won't need to purchase as much furniture and fixtures, equipment, and so forth. Our proposed tax rate based on 85% of last year's assessed valuation for the 21 payable tax year is actually asking for a tax rate that's almost a penny less, which doesn't always happen. So we're pleased that we are able to fund an increase in the operating area, but still decrease the overall tax rate that we're asking for the patrons or taxpayers. Also, it's important to note if the assessed valuation, and we still, I don't believe, have that formal number yet. It's a little late this year. If the assessed valuation, which we do anticipate it to be even higher, that tax rate with the inverse relationship could be even lower. And we will have more details in the budget hearing that we propose for September. Are there any questions on anything that you're seeing or how we came to these numbers? Thank you. Yeah.
I move that we approve.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. Are there any questions or clarification?
I have a question, which is, I've never seen this notice of taxpayers. Can we get one? Is this a general thing that goes to? Okay.
It's on Indiana Gateway, which is the public site for the state. So if you just Google Indiana Gateway, that's where all these are from every entity. You're no longer required to publish it in the newspaper. Some entities still do. But it's called Form 3, and it's basically what you're looking at here, what your proposed budget is, what your proposed tax rate is, and so that people have the information for the budget hearing if they would like to come and ask questions, which will be held in September.
I understand that Gateway is a mandate that anything exceeding a certain dollar amount in terms of budget has to be public knowledge, correct?
It's all budgets regardless. Yes.
Regardless, so there's not even a minimum amount. It's
Right.
any public entity.
So it lists everything from Indiana Gateway. It's everything from the entire budget to your expenditures, to your annual reports, to your employee compensation by person. So it's out there.
So if we wanted to look it up, we would go to indianagateway.gov.
That's what it was going. I would never.
That's evolved. I wonder how many other publicly funded organizations are going to have a decrease in their tax rate advertised.
Well, I know, having worked for another public organization, school system, anytime we even had a small grant, everything had to go in and everything had to be reported. So it was very complete, very transparent. Thank you, Kelly. Any other questions? We have a motion and a second. I will call for the vote. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan, Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I also approve. So we will publish, correct? Yes. Moving to our next agenda item, Main Library Parking Agreement.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, my mic was off. for the last one. So whoever was online, I'm sure didn't hear. I'm sorry. We are really happy to tell you that we've been able to work out an agreement for parking. Sometimes it's the little things that really make a difference. And our staff, our employees have been asking about parking for a long time now. We weren't sure that we were going to be able to get something that was close to Main Library, but this lot is directly across from the Patron parking lot at Main. And so it will be just a really nice location for 70 spaces. 70 spaces is what we had in the old lot, and that was adequate. It's hard to know whether this is totally going to cover it, but we're going to hold a lottery. And so if anybody does have to have a wait list, we'll be fair in how we wait list them. So the other difference is that we're recommending that the library underwrite $20 of the $45 fee so that employees will pay $25 a month. And that's new. We've never done that before, but the total cost to the library to do it is just under $17,000 a year, and we think the goodwill it will engender will be more than worth it.
Do I hear a motion to approve the library underwriting the cost of $20?
I would so move.
So moved. Second.
I hear a motion and a second. Any other questions?
Yes,
Hearing none.
I
Oh,
just want to add a
one.
comment that I concur with this in that this is one of those things that you can do that costs so little, and I think employees look at it, and, you know, this is a pretty good place to work for a very small price.
Thank you. Other comments, questions? All right, I will call for the roll. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I also approve, so it passes. Next, human, oh, yes. Ann, did you have a comment? Next, we go to human resource policy change. Deb? Or-
This, and Sarah, chime in if I'll go through it real quick and then chime in, please. This is really a temporary practice, but it's going to give us a safety net for someone who contracts COVID or has to quarantine. It also protects library workers who may be exposed to someone with COVID who would choose to come in if they weren't getting paid. So it kind of has multiple purposes. This is scaled back from the early days of the federal COVID leave practices and would pay for up to 2 weeks for such an employee. So, and again, like all of our other COVID practices, we would review this probably every quarter to decide if it's still necessary. But we wanted to get it in front of the board for now. Sarah, did I miss anything?
And to clarify, this mostly affect part-time employee
It
who
affects-
do not have sick leave.
Do not have
present.
sick leave, correct.
All right, do I hear a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second for the recommendation to temporarily establish paid sick time for COVID-related cases. Any comments?
So this again is one of those things that makes the environment more inviting and pleasant for the people that work for you. Those are always valuable things to do.
Any other comments, questions? I will call the roll. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I also approve. Thank you very much.
Christine, could we back up? I realized that the board didn't actually approve the parking agreement with the lease-like agreement
Oh.
that you
Okay.
have to sign.
Okay, then let's move back to approving the, how did we do that? How, there's reason that I'm rushing because I really want to hear about the rebranding. So let's go back. Let's go back to the mainline library parking agreement. Can we approve the agreement?
I move.
Second.
All right.
Second.
Okay, thank you. I will call a roll. Thank you, Jim. Sally,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I also approve. With that, I would really love to move to the St. Joseph County Public Library rebranding presentation to see our recommendations for new logo and branding for the library. No board action required. We'll just watch.
I hope I do not disappoint. And that is very entertaining for everyone.
Jenny's already done this presentation once today because we've started doing town halls for our entire staff on board meeting day. And we use it as an opportunity to just bring everybody up to speed. So today's town hall was the branding presentation. So she got a trial run.
Everyone hear me? All right, so I'm here to share the rebranding project, which is almost at its completion. And you're probably looking at the slide saying, well, this is not very interesting so far. But I've intentionally left this slide a little bland. And that's because I'm thinking of it as a palette cleanser. Today, I'm going to share with you our new colors and our new logo. But I also want to share how we got to where we are and why we did it. Okay. So first of all, the why. The reopening of the main library and the Community Learning Center, what we're calling the library block, is the perfect moment for us to reintroduce ourselves to the community. It's a time for us to say hello and welcome and come on in a really big way. The SJCPL logo, as you can see, has covered a lot of ground in the course of our long history. It's gone from simple to stylized. And we don't change our logo very often, as you can tell. So this only goes from 1940 to 2005 today. And in that time, we haven't had very many different looks. So we don't do it lightly, is I guess what I'm saying. And we've had our current logo for over 15 years. And I would say that some of these older logos, they continue to emerge in unexpected and surprising places sometimes. So one of the things we're looking forward to with this rebranding is being able to kind of find some consistency and make sure that we're really presenting ourselves in a unified way. So with a logo that we've had for so long, and with all of the various services, programs, projects that we do, our brand, the one that we currently has a lot going on. And that goes back to the consistency that I was speaking of before. Because we have a lot of different looks, we present ourselves in different ways. So this rebranding on the heels of the reopening of Maine is a good way for us to reevaluate how we are presenting ourselves and to develop some of that consistency so that we're more recognizable and better able to raise awareness in the community. Just about a year ago, and when I was preparing for this presentation, I realized just how long we've been working on this process and how long we've been thinking about it, because it was even before that we had started the conversations about how to do a rebranding and what we wanted to do. So we began working with Pathfinders just about a year ago on the rebranding and the design of a new website. Pathfinders is a local ad agency. They've been around since 1979 and recently won the Chamber Small Business Award in 2020. So in addition to their national clients, locally they work with a lot of the organizations that we also partner with. These include La Casa, Visit South Bend, Mishawaka, and Girls on the Run, Michiana. The entire process began with a deep dive immersion. It took about a half day to go through it, and there were staff from various departments involved. And during this immersion session, the Pathfinders team began to explore, with our help and using our words, the identity of the library's brand personality. They discovered who we were and who we wanted to be, where we were going. It was a really internally looking process for us. And what struck us throughout this year of partnership with Pathfinders is how excited they've been to work with the library, and how they're so willing to help us be better so that we can better serve our community. And I would say that this process has not been magic. There was no poof moment where suddenly we hit upon the right thing. There was a lot of back and forth and a lot of collaboration. We talked to staff, share ideas and get impressions. And there was a few things that we had to reject. And a few times when we had to question, what we wanted to present and how we wanted to appear. So it was a really, I would say, fairly intense process at certain times, and a lot of soul searching. So we're getting closer to the big moment. Before I get into what we're really here to see, which is the colors and the logo, I want to lay the foundation for the design work, because truly branding involves a lot more than just designing a logo and choosing some colors. And our goal throughout this was to create a brand that resonates with our community and exemplifies the values of the library. So the first thing that we did was nail down our archetype. And an archetype is a way to help organizations tell their story so that the patrons, our customers, can identify with us. And the best brands embody an archetype. So what we discovered is that we identify as the every person archetype. What does this mean? It means that at our core, we seek connection and community with others. We embody the persona of the kind neighbor, a quality motivated by accepting and encouraging members of our community. And when I presented this to staff earlier, I said, I hope that resonates, because that should be who we are, about community and connection. I'm next going to share what Pathfinders wrote about the library in this every person archetype. And I have some images of our staff doing what they do every single day up to sort of provide a visual for this. The library is all about the community. No matter who the patron is, the library is for them. And this isn't just lip service. We are serious about creating a safe, judgment-free zone where everyone is welcome. This comes through in our offerings and mindset, whether someone's at the library for a specific book, story time for their kids, free legal advice, or a meetup with a group they formed. The library is there for whatever they need, whoever they are. This mindset extends beyond the walls of the library as well. We partner with organizations and nonprofits that serve the community. We are a public space where people can congregate, socialize, and find common ground. Most of all, we are the community's gathering place, a place where everyone knows where they belong and can form connections no matter who they are. The St. Joe County Public Library answers the need for more connection in society by creating a welcoming space where everyone can go to access knowledge, interact with others, and find ways to engage with their community. The central word that binds all of these things that the library does together is connection. Whether that's connection to information, connection to technology, or the internet, or connection to people. And this word served as, I would say, the core of what we were trying to accomplish with this new branding. All right, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our new brand. I'm going to talk through each of the components, starting with our logo and name. We wanted the creative in the logo to be warm, modern, inviting, and for the community to see the library as a friendly, welcoming place that everyone can use. We're trying to attract new patrons, especially with the reopening of the main library, but always and forever, we will be trying to attract new patrons. And as we introduce new people to the St. Joe County Public Library, we want them to be excited and energized about what the library can offer them. The art elements in our brand are inspired by the people who use our services at all of our locations. And this art includes innovative shapes, easy to read fonts, a vibrant modern color palette, and lifestyle photography that captures authentic moments. Our brand elements allow flexibility across all of our assets, which echo the flexibility and openness that we provide to our patrons. All right, so let's dig in a little bit more. Logo. So we did have some guardrails when we created the logo, and they include things like we wanted it to be easy to reproduce. So it needed to be easy for us to use. We wanted to have a modern look be recognizable, not too whimsical, but give a sense of quality and be a strong, elegant solution for some of the challenges that we identified in the process. Now, one of these things, I've used it a few times, and maybe you've noticed, but we are shortening our name in the branding, not our legal name, to St. Joe County Public Library. It's a small change, but it makes our name just a little bit easier to digest, because as someone who used to do interviews for the library at the St. Joseph County Public Library, it's quite a mouthful. So the concept of the logo is rooted in emphasizing the words public library. It uses a typography that creates familiarity and friendliness. The words are kind of interlocking and played together, and there's those nice rounded edges. The Y is also a lead-in device into the St. Joe County part of our name. And this helps play on the predominant nature of public library, because we are the public library for our community. We wanted that to be front and center. This logo also sets us up to integrate each of the branches more elegantly into our branding. We are one system made up of 10 unique locations, and we wanted to find a better way to incorporate our branch personalities as part of a unified SJCPL identity. So another element of our brand are these shapes. And this collection is inspired by the library's role as a gathering place, which is symbolized by that square design element. Each of the alternate configurations, learning, socialization, programming, and services, represent one of the main reasons why people come to the library. And then the colors. Our new color palette is bright and lively. It's not unlike the colors that we consistently have used in the recent past. And our new font is Montserrat, which is easy to read and also, importantly, easy to access. So what are we going to do with this? I've got some samples of how we might implement this new branding. It could be a billboard, a flyer, social media. Staff are excited about shirts. And our new communications team, or our communications team, which includes a few new members, will be bringing this brand to life. We've got a style guide from Pathfinders, which will ensure that we use the designs appropriately, consistently, and we'll also just elevate how we're able to show up in the community. I've also snuck a sneak peek at the website in this corner. We're still working on this, and I'm sure there will be an update later on about that, but we're also really excited about how the library's website is just going to be a better centerpiece for our virtual presence, and also be more, it'll be easier to navigate for our community. So for now, the plan is to launch the new brand to the public in mid-September. And this is just because we want to build excitement for the reopening of the library. So that'll give us a chance to really come up with a splash and talk about things, but also give people a chance to get used to our new look before they have to get used to our new look. So with that, I just want to say thank you all for your support. I know I gave a presentation a few months ago, and I appreciated all the feedback that we received about that. And a lot of hard work from a lot of people, both in this room and throughout the library, went into creating this new branding. And we're really excited about the future and what it means for the system and what it means for reopening the library, and also what it means for how we can present ourselves to the community. I think this ending slide kind of encapsulates all the possibilities that we can do with our brand. It's bright, it's fun, it's modern. We'll be able to have a lot of fun.
Any comments, questions?
I think you should make mugs and t-shirts and some of it.
That's a great idea.
When we open Howard Park, it's going to have myself. So I think it'd be a great mug is $10, whatever. To buy. That's a very bright.
It's really punchy, and
Yeah.
and it's one more place I think where we've raised the bar, because in all the logo work we've done in the past, we've really just done logo work. We've never really looked at our brand as a whole, and it was so time to do this. And as Jenny said, this has been in process for about a year. It's a lengthy process to get it done. I think Pathfinders was a great partner. They were willing to humor us every time we go, no, that's not us. And we go back and they try again and we try again. But it really, and I kept saying, don't fall in love with it. It just has to work for us. It's got to be really us. But I really kind of really love it. It's good. Yeah, I agree.
What we're seeing right now are the big round mugs. Not just- But moving forward, I know that back in the day when I was a marketing director, we always wanted to encourage people with names to say, what do you do? And if you waste time with St. Joseph County, that
Exactly.
isn't what we are. We are the public library of St. Joe County. So I think that really emphasizes public library is what we do. It doesn't leave out questions.
For a lot of people, it's just, where's the public library? And they don't care whether there's a St. Joe attached to the name or something else. It's library. So
It's definitely warm and friendly. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful. Any other comments? Thank you for sharing. Deb did not share even one scintilla with me in our pre-meeting, so I was really rushing through this meeting to get to this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. With that, we will move to our last library board resolution. Do I have a motion to approve item I?
On behalf of Christine, I move the library access.
Okay, so we will sell our books to Friends of the Library, excluding those items selected by the staff for library sales, which includes computer equipment declared as excess. Any other comments?
How soon are you going to take audio cassettes off the list?
Probably when we all can meet in person again.
we should take those off now because I think we had some holdovers, but we really, I
Now,
can't.
now that you've moved out of the other building.
What's there? Oh, we get. Okay.
Oh, okay. I understand that.
Someday, soon, I'm sure. With that, I will call for the roll. Sally,
I
Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I also approve. Is there other business? Hearing none, we'll move to hearing of visitors. And this is where members of the public are invited to address the library board. Do we have any requests for comments? There are no visitors. Moving to news and educational items. Anything to comment on?
Nancy's last board meeting, and I am trying not to get emotional about all of it. But her party is this Friday. You are all invited from 6 to 8 at the Center Township Ranch. Come and say goodbye formally, but you have a mask on. I don't. It's
Yes.
Thank you for all you've done. Kelly already knows she has shoes to fill, but I think you'll do fine. And I know that Nancy, you will have a wonderful life. So congratulations. Thank you for your many years of service to the library.
Yes.
Nancy and I have known each other now for 45 years, and I will mention that Friday night, but it's unusual, I think, to have, and we are more than co-workers, we are friends, so.
We'll move on before it.
Yeah,
leaves.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you. The next library board meeting will be here at the Keller Park branch, and it will be on September 27th at 4:15. And with that, I am willing to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
I don't think we'll have any discussion on this. I will call the roll. Sally, Aye. Marvin,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Terry. I didn't hear an aye. Okay. Anne,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I also approve. With that, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.